Welcome to the semifinals of the StarCityGames.com Columbus Invitational. I am Cedric Phillips, joined by Todd Anderson, and we are preparing to watch Max McVety on your left with mono-white humans against Andrew Maine on your right with green-white tokens. You see the 6th and 7th seed respectively, which means the player on the left, Max McVety, with mono-white humans will be on the play, which is always a nice thing to have with that deck.
Yeah, I mean, so many one-drops in the deck, just really capitalize on being on the play. If you ever have the triple one-drop start into and always watching, it's very difficult for most decks in Standard to keep up with that. On the draw, it's a little bit more manageable, but that's when the deck starts to get a little tricky. You get Griff Spoon in there, you get Thala's Lieutenant pumping all your creatures as well as the always watching, and sometimes you just in the game before your opponent can even get their third land into play.
Yeah, this deck can be unrelentingly aggressive, where it's just a deck that, it just does the same thing every single game. Again, it's got some creatures, it's got some anthems, it's got a little bit of removal spliced in there, and it sees if it can get the job done. It has been doing very well for many players this weekend. Max McVety is making the deepest run with the deck. So these players are going to be underway with this deck here momentarily as I do take a look at a little bit of paperwork here, and I'm sure the deck list and all of that stuff, and they'll be given the green light to get ready to go ahead and play. Now do keep in mind, the other side of the bracket is where you're going to find Craig Krempels, typically in the booth, was in the booth last weekend with me during Baltimore.
He just learned so much.
I guess so. He found a Bant Company deck that he likes, taking the Jim Davis route. He's going to be in store for another Bant Company mirror. He just got by Logan Mize, the #1 overall seed, who was playing Bant Company. We're going to see if he can do that again. Now, Ryan Overturf, Matthias Hunt, they'll be bringing you that match in just a moment. So we get ready here for mono-white humans and green-white tokens. And you got to think maybe going to the Pro Tour and States next weekend, regardless of the result of this match in this tournament. Mono-white humans is going to be a deck that people are going to try to play.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Tom Ross making top 8 of the Star City Games Standard Open, just right next to the feature match area, just taking down his opponent to put him into the top 8. People are going to look at all of these mono-white humans list. Top 4 here from Max McVety, and then boss humans, if you will,
yeah,
with a little bit more aggressive curve, and I think it's going to make some waves.
It's hard not to. I mean, again, it's just so straightforward, it's aggressive, and it works every time. Though it looks like Max is going to be taking a mulligan here, so he'll be down to 6 cards in just a moment as Andrew Maine sits pretty steady with 7. Now, the question I have is how is Andrew going to be able to defend this? Again, he's got Hangerback Walker, Thraben Inspector, Elvish Visionary, Archangel Avacyn. Those are his creatures. Secure the Waste Declaration in Stone, Gideon, Ally of Zendikar, and Nissa, Voice of Zendikar. What you're going to find, though, Todd, is not a lot of good blockers there, really.
Well, it depends. If McVety is able to, or is unable to assemble any sort of pump effect, he does have a lot of creatures like Dragon Hunter and Kytheon, Hero of Akros, and those cards just get bricked by all these little guys. So if McVety's not able to find, Lieutenant or an Always Watching, the creatures out of Andrew Maine's deck might actually be able to give him a lot of trouble.
I suppose, yeah, if he doesn't find one of those Anthem effects, I think that's the case. But, Elvish Visionary, Thraben Inspector, not the most exciting blockers in a matchup like this.
Sure, they're not. I mean, if he also has the ability to tick down Nissa. He has some effects of his own that can boost the power and toughness of his creatures. I think Hangerback Walker could be particularly annoying. He can afford to soak somewhere around 6 to 10 damage before he really needs to start blocking with Hangerback Walker. So that'll let him get it up to a 2/2 or 3/3, so he'll be able to trade off and then maybe make some tokens as well, assuming that McVety's not able to use a Declaration of Stone or something to clear.
Yeah, now one of the things about mono-white humans and these humans decks in general, this particular format, is they don't have a falter effect like Brave the Elements to be able to get through. They don't have any burn or anything like that a red deck would bring.
Griff's the Elements?
Not quite. The old Boon? Griff's Boon to the skies?
I am excited about that card. When I first saw it, I was just like, okay, this card's kind of wonky. It's uncommon, though. That's interesting. And then, you keep reading. It's like, okay, well, 4 mana out of the graveyard to do the same thing. Not super exciting, but then you actually start playing with it, and you realize the +1/+0 starts to be relevant. The flying is very relevant. And then there are games where your opponent just, can't tap out ever again, or you're just going to Griff Spoon a guy and kill them.
Yeah. No, I think that card's really good.
Yeah.
I don't know how many copies you can play, but I do think it's really good. You see Max is just going to start off here with a Town Gossip Monger. For Andrew Maine, a fortified village revealing a forest, and now a Thraben Inspector plus a clue, as we are underway here in our first semifinal match from Columbus.
I believe this tournament will go down in history as the Thraben Inspector tournament.
That card's seen a lot of play.
It is very good.
Here's another Town Gossip Monger, and McVety can only pass the turn back.
Yeah, no second land, though. He's going to go ahead and, I guess, transform Or okay, no, he's just showing him the backside.
The incited rabble.
Right. So he knows that there's no Dromoka's commands. Basically, just sorcery speed stuff that he needs to play around. So there's no need to flip it right away. Like he could threaten to block the Thraben Inspector, for example.
Well, no flip right away, which is smart. You have access to each other's deck list, so as you mentioned, no Dromoka's commands in the main deck. You see a Hangerback Walker here for 1 and a transformation of Incited Rabble. So it's here. It's ready to attack because, well, it has to.
Yeah. It has no choice.
Yes.
Although he does have the option of just flipping the other Gossipmonger instead of attacking. But I think if you have another creature to play to flip the other Gossipmonger, I think that's just fine. The cool thing about these cards that transform is that they don't have the same name on both sides. So you could potentially play around a Declaration Stone by just not flipping your second town Gossipmonger.
Okay. That does make some sense. There is a Thraben Inspector past the turn back after getting a clue on McVety. Maybe he's got another 1-drop. All right, he does. Another Inspector, which means another clue.
2 clues.
You said it's a Thraben
That's way
Inspector
more clues
tournament.
than I have.
That's true. No clues here for Todd in the booth, as there's a planes for Andrew. Maybe it's Nissa time.
Yeah, Tom Ross just harped for basically the last 3 or 4 weeks about how good Thraben Inspector was, and it took us a while to believe him. But once we started seeing it in action, we talked about it a little bit earlier, where just being able to use your mana like every turn was huge. And it does act a lot like an Elvish Visionary, but you get to choose when you activate the other side.
Yep.
So, if there's a turn where you have just a 1-drop, you can, crack a clue and play the 1-drop. Just make sure you're as efficient as possible. And when you're playing a deck that has a bunch of pump effects, like Thala's Lieutenant and Always Watching, and even Griffboon, any body is relevant.
It's a Declaration in Stone that's going to take care of a Hangerback Walker.
Yeah.
It's a clue party. Everybody's getting clues.
Yeah, except me.
Yep, Todd, still no clues here in the booth. Hangerback Walker gone. Another clue here for Andrew Maine. And now it's pretty clear for attacking. And this is my concern in the matchup here for Andrew, is that it's so easy for Max maybe to get some things out of the way and be able to serve for a lot of damage. That's what he's going to do right now.
Yeah. The trouble here for McVety, though, is that if Andrew Maine just has a copy of Declaration Stone of his own, Max McVety can – or sorry, if Andrew Maine has a Declaration Stone, he gets to take care of both of the flip rabbles and gives them 4 clues to McVety, who can't really leverage the extra virtual card advantage because he's short on lands. He needs to draw something like Knives of the White Orchid or something like that, so he can actually turn these clues into cards and not fall super far behind. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, Declaration of Stone is going to give away 2 clues to McVety. He's got 4 clues now, but he's only got 2 mana, so he can't really start sacrificing them all that well. So as you mentioned, perhaps it's time for a Knight of the White Orchid. See if Max does have one of those as he draws a card. He picked up a Plains at least.
Nope. A Battle of the Squires?
Yeah, those are Squires. Those are 1/2s.
Yeah.
Unclear for how long, but they are 1/2s. Here's a Dragon Hunter. There's a 2/1 in the house.
Yeah, and Andrew is definitely favored if the game goes long. He has a lot more cards in his deck that can use all of this extra mana, whereas McVety has very few cards that can actually do something when you have access to like 4, 5, 6 mana. Luckily for McVety, Andrew Maine is stuck on 3 lands, so he's not able to play Gideon right now. He could play Nissa, maybe take on Make a Plant. I think that's probably a fine play here. He was considering, I guess, to crack a clue to try to hit that land drop a little bit earlier, but I think just playing the Nissa here and putting a threat on the table that McVety needs to deal with right away is good.
Yeah, Nissa does require an answer. It is not going to do a ton with the plants, but it's threatening to do an Anthem, maybe a second Anthem, and that's a real thing.
Come on, Griffboon!
Yeah.
Aw.
Nope, sorry, just another Dragon Hunter.
All right.
All right, and the Lieutenant, that's real.
Yeah, no, this is a great turn for McVety. His creatures all now can survive blocks from the Inspector on the other side. He can send some stuff at either Andrew or Nissa. I would probably go for Nissa just to make sure that you can try to keep it in check.
Looks like that plant token will be blocking because that's typically what the plant token does.
Yeah, sometimes it attacks.
And both creatures are going after Nissa.
All right, so that makes sense. The chump block here is fine. If they're both going at Andrew, I think he may have been tempted to take it. That way he could potentially minus his Nissa to turn into a threat that could maybe double block a creature.
Now, it does look like Maine has another copy of Declaration in Stone. There are 2 Dragon Hunters out there.
Yeah, and that's why you should mix up your Dragon Hunters with Envoy, Expedition Envoy, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
There aren't that many dragons. It's not that relevant. Just don't get Declaration in Stone, man.
Well, he's got all these clues now. How lucky for him.
Yeah, dude.
He might be able to he might get to crack 2 more of those over the course of the game.
Maybe. Perfectly reasonable.
Yeah. No, the Envoy, that's why you see the inclusion of like 3 Envoys, 2 Dragon Hunters, or vice versa. Expedition Envoy is a pretty mediocre card, honestly, but you are trying to play around Declaration in Stone, as Here's always watching, and here come the attackers. We'll see if they go after Nissa again.
I'm just going to assume that since he's at 13, Mac seems pretty heads up as far as pilots are concerned with this mono-white aggressive deck. Going after the Planeswalker is very important unless you're attacking your opponent for lethal, basically at all points. So, Gideon here about to come down from Andrew Maine, more than likely.
Yeah, it could be Gideon, could be a Hangerback Walker for 2.
Could be, but you don't want to get blown out by a Declaration in Stone, only to have your Nissa die to one of the creatures. Or I guess no.
It would be a double chump block. Like Hangerback Walker it's a risk, I think. I would lean towards Gideon if I had it right now if I'm Andrew.
I mean, if you make a 9 ally, it's almost impossible for either of your Planeswalkers to die. Your opponent has to go like land double removal spell. Or I guess Griff's Boon plus another Thala's Lieutenant could kill the Gideon, perhaps.
It's asking a lot, though.
It is asking a lot, especially considering he hasn't cast a Griff's Boon yet. Like, he had a few spots where he had an extra mana lying around, I believe, although I could be more than mistaken.
McVety going to take a look at his hand after drawing a card. Now, again, you see all those clues over there. There are 5 of them that he can sacrifice. Of course, only 1 at a time. Going to cost 2 mana for each one, and he doesn't have a lot of mana to work with.
Is this like a choose-your-own-adventure build Tommy-O's journal?
Yeah, kind of. There's all these clues out here. I bet he wishes he had Tommy-O's journals in place so he could sack 3 of those clues and search for a plains.
It's basically Goosebumps.
We have R.L. Stein references now in the booth. What's next?
That's just my childhood, man. Come on. I don't know what I'm doing.
Hey, they made a Goosebumps movie, just so that you know.
I didn't see it.
I heard it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it actually had pretty good reviews on Rotten Tomato, for whatever that's worth.
I'm not going to ever go see it, but I heard it was good.
I just can't stand Jack Black, personally.
Yeah, me either.
All right, well, cracking a clue. That's 1 down. He only needs to crack 1 more before Cedric loses his prop bet with himself on how many clues.
I have a bet? I didn't know I bet on clues.
Not like a bet.
Do I win anything?
You just said, I don't think he's going to crack more than 2 more clues.
I would be surprised. I will say that. Here comes the Inspector. It's going after Nissa, as usual. Plant token is going to do what the plant token always does. It's going to block. A Plains, and now a Council's Lieutenant. Give Thalia's Lieutenant a counter. It's a 3/3 now because of Always Watching.
I wonder if they're like competing for the same job since they're both lieutenants. I guess one is like, I guess they're lieutenants of different origins,
they're from different
backgrounds.
Groups. Yeah.
And this is where we're actually going to see Andrew Maine slowly start to take over the game unless McVety can find a Griff's Boon and Andrew not have any sort of answer to it. Or just not even have like an Archangel Avacyn. These Planeswalkers are basically generating as much value every single turn as McVety is by cracking clues and casting spells. He didn't get a great start to the game. He got double Declaration Stoned, 2-for-1s, virtually. He gets the clues, but he still has 4 floating cards off to the side.
Yep.
And that's one of the reasons why Declaration Stone is so good. You're taking, especially if you are able to get a 2-for-1 out of it. And, you can see McVety not able to leverage those extra cards that he's getting, and Andrew Maine just kind of taking over the game. Send back, playing D.
Yeah, this is kind of the spot that Andrew wants to be in, right? He's got 5 mana available, which can mean so many different things in this spot. Archangel Avacyn secure the waste, and he's also got 2 Planeswalkers as well that are generating small advantages every single turn. Max has been trying to kill these Planeswalkers. He has been failing at getting the job done. So every single time that he's attacking those, he's not attacking Andrew's life total, and Andrew's actually gotten to the point where he's kind of stabilizing right now.
Yeah, it seemed like McVety was in a good spot, but as you can see, he was unable to get the Nissa off the table. Just a few too many blockers in the way, and eventually Andrew was able to draw the land to play Gideon, and now it just looks pretty bad. That isn't to say he's out of the game. There are some cards in his deck that can maybe help him punch through the last few points. It seems difficult to do, but if you can ever connect with the console's lieutenants and make it renowned, that could also be a pretty big help.
He's just going to sacrifice some clues right now, so that means he's not advancing his board at all. He's just drawing some more cards. Perhaps he'll have a land and a 1-drop to play, but not a very exciting turn here for Max.
Right. And again, I think this is just showcasing the power of Declaration Stone out of a deck, or against a deck that is unable to leverage the cards, or the virtual card advantage gained from it.
All right, well, he's got the boon. The boons on the council, Lieutenant. So this is a little something at least.
Yeah, I mean, if Andrew has Archangel Avacyn here, I think the game ends on the spot.
I do too.
Looks like he does not. He's going to secure the waste for, looks like 4.
Yep.
And that gives him a hefty number of creatures in play. And no matter which Planeswalker the console's lieutenant is attacking, or if he attacked at all, he might have been afraid of the Archangel Avacyn, and now he's going to get double Anthem.
Yeah, I think he was afraid of the Archangel Avacyn, and with good reason. Now here's a Westville Abbey.
So, you know, Downton.
Yeah, Downton Abbey. Here's an Anthem from Gideon. And now an Anthem from Nissa. And this is what this deck is all about. It just makes some Anthems, make all these tokens, make these tokens into 3/3s or better. And now we're talking about better because here's a Nissa. So perhaps another Anthem is on the way. So now they are going to be enormous creatures. What is this?
A Declaration in Stone.
This is a giant beatdown.
Give him another clue, man.
Yep, and everybody's attacking now.
2 blockers, they're all 4 power.
Yeah, 4 power or better.
Yeah.
Some of them are Knight Ally tokens.
The 2 Night Owls are 5, so that's well more than lethal, I think. The plant is a 3. The Knights are 5s. That's 4, 8, 12, 16, 23 damage, looks like.
That's inf. Andrew's going to count the damage for Max. Let Max know that you are taking lethal on this attack.
How?
This is what the token deck is about. It's got to be able to stabilize and get to this point. Max's job is to make sure it never gets to this point because he can't win if it does.
Right.
So, Andrew Maine is going to win game number 1 here over Matt McVety. As green-white tokens will take care of mono-white humans, Andrew Maine breaking serve here in this match, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was definitely an important game to win pre-board. You know, he has a few cards in his deck that are a little wonky, not necessarily great against aggressive strategies. Now he gets access to some good stuff out of the board.
Yeah, and that's where we're going to move next. We're going to take a look at the sideboards here for both players. So we're going to start with Max and his 3 Archangel Ties, 3 Handed Militia Captains, 3 Silk Wraps, 2 Eerie Interludes, 2 Hollowed Moonlights, a Stasis Snare, and a Hidden Dragon Slayer. Archangel's probably got to be pretty good here.
Yeah, I mean, the problem here is that with Archangel Ties, as it goes in a number of matchups, it is a very good card if your opponent cannot answer it. You know, it forces them to tie up a lot of their mana, trying to make sure that they can pressure you. But if your opponent has a bunch of 2 and 3 mana spells that just kind of get it out of the way, it doesn't have a come into play effect. It doesn't have any effect on the game as long as you can remove it before any attacks are declared.
Yeah, I mean, in combination with always watching, it's going to be great, of course. But
sure,
as you mentioned, if Andrew can't get off the battlefield, it's going to be a problem regardless. But he does have some removal, and he's also got some other cards in his sideboard. You see 2 Dragon Protector, 2 Hidden Dragon Slayer, Evolutionary Leap, 2 Silk Wraps, 2 Clipwings, 3 Jamoka's Commands, a Dragon Lord Jamoka, and 2 Surek the Hunt Caller. So what do you like from Andrew's side?
From Andrew's side, I guess I like access to a few more cheap removal spells. I think Silk Wrap is pretty good. Jamoka's Command is very hit or miss. It's obviously insane if it can kill Always Watching and let you fight and kill a creature, or even like put a counter on your creature in combat and like mess up the attacks and blocks. But if your opponent has a Grist boon, you are unable to actually get your opponent's Always Watching off the table, it's pretty bad for you. Alternatively, you know, if Andrew leaves in a bunch of things like Hangerback Walker in his deck and they get Silk Wrapped or they get hit with like a Stasis Snare or something, then Jamoka's Command becomes worthless. Because if you sacrifice either of those enchantments, your Hangerback Walker comes back with no counters on it and is just dead.
Not great.
No, so, I mean, Jamoka's Command hit or miss, but I definitely like some copies of Silk Wrap. It's possible that like nothing else comes in his deck.
I just don't feel like there's a lot to change, honestly. Card to sideboard out. You know, I don't know if he wants to leave Oath of Nissa. That's kind of a weird card to sideboard out, I think.
No, I think you need to make sure that you can hit your land drops and your draw is just pretty smooth. And Oath of Nissa is like, it's like Ponder or Gitaxian Probe. You know, you can side those out when you're playing against like a really aggressive deck where you just don't have the time or maybe even the life. And not in this case, but the time rather to actually play the Oath of Nissa. But the deck doesn't have that many 1-drops, right? Just the Thraben Inspectors.
Yeah, that's it.
So I don't think it's a big sacrifice to just keep that card in your deck. Make sure you can hit your land drops on time, find your Gideons, things that can help you take over the game.
All right, well, both of our players have had it.
Yeah.
They don't want to play.
Yeah, they're gone. So does that mean I win?
I don't think that's how that works.
I'll step in.
You'll jump.
Take the belt?
Can you be in 2 places at once? That would be pretty hard to do.
I mean, I could just walk over there. It's like 100 feet? 200? No.
I'm going to take the over on 100 feet.
100 feet's a lot.
I'm going to take the over on that.
Anyway.
Well, while they're getting ready for game 2, I'll let you finish really quickly.
Sure. So Hallowed Moonlight, I think, a big card that is kind of innocuous here because it does stop token generators, like Secure the Waste.
Okay.
Obviously, it won't interact well with much of the other stuff. Like, you can do it in response to a 0 from Gideon making a Knight ally or whatever, but you can do it in response to, like, a Hangerback Walker about to die, for example. So, you know, there is some value to that. I think he may bring that in if he is planning on going a little bit bigger with things like Archangel of Ties, and he wants to just, like, kind of slowly overwhelm Andrew with, you know, some more expensive stuff, and how Moonlight goes along with that plan pretty well.
Okay, fair enough. A little tech there from the Hollowed Moonlight, how it can interact with Secure the Waste and Hangerback Walker. So, while we wait for Andrew Maine to return and game number 2 to be underway, we're going to talk very quickly about PAX East and the fact that we will be there next week, April 22nd.
Lucky.
Starting at 11:30 a.m. I am pretty lucky. Twitch.tv/Twitch is where you can find myself, Players Champion Jim Davis, and the Assistant Media Manager of StarCityGames.com, Jeremy Knoll, where we'll be talking about StarCityGames.com, the SCG Tour. We'll be unveiling some new stuff. 1 is the Season 3 schedule of the SCG Tour. 2 is the newest Game Night member of the Creature Collection. And 3 is the playmat for regionals that'll be taking place in August. So make sure you do join us at twitch.tv/Twitch, April 22nd, starting at 11:30 a.m. And if you will be at PAX East, and we hope we do see you there, we're going to be doing some awesome giveaways while we are at PAX East. So we're doing giveaways 3 times per day. Make sure you're following at Star City Games on Twitter. If you are going to be at PAX East, we'll be kind of making some tweets about where you can find us, what you're going to be able to get for free, including the Star City Games drawstring bag, the old Kraken playmat sleeves, and pin. That's our Kraken bundle. We'll be giving away a bunch of Creature Collection bundles at PAX East. So hopefully we'll see you there, and make sure you're following at Star City Games on Twitter so you can figure out when those bundles and where those bundles will be.
I want to say I love the drawstring tote bag.
Yeah.
It's just great. The cords are super thick. They're not like the little crummy ropes that just kind of rot away and break eventually, like most of the little bags.
Yep.
And the material is very thick. It's just, I think it's like the best bag that I've had in a while.
Normally I don't wear the drawstring bag because I'm like kind of a big guy. This is the only one I've actually liked though, because the cords are actually really big, like you mentioned, so they actually make sense on a bigger person like me.
Yeah.
So I like that bag, and I wear it at all the tournaments. Shameless promotion of the Star City
Dude,
bag.
I promote things that I buy when they're great.
Smart.
I bought one. It was great.
Yeah. It's a good buy.
Still is. It's over behind the booth somewhere. Anyway.
In good hands.
I did want to point out one thing.
Yes,
Jeremy's smug mug. Holy moly.
You know, Jeremy's moved into Commander versus now.
Really?
Yeah.
Just doing them?
See, people are going to find out more about Jeremy Knoll now.
All right, great.
We know plenty. He's the one who,
Jeremy has been awesome for a very long time.
Yeah.
And now more people will know that.
Yeah, they're going to see. He's got a real shark attitude for Commander too. So.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what Commander players want.
Exactly.
They want the turn 4 combo kill the table.
Well, someone's got to put Wes Wise in his place, and who better? Who better than Jeremy to say enough is enough?
Stephen Green's pretty good at it.
Stephen Green does okay, but I think Stephen Green's looking out for himself. I think Jeremy is mostly here just to attack Wes in most circumstances.
That would be great if one day a week, you know, you just have the guy who can only attack the other guy.
Yeah.
And you know nothing. You just like all your removal spells target his creatures. You always attack him, and then when that person dies, you just kind of go with him.
I'd always attack Wes. I would never attack anyone else.
That's not very nice.
Well, play one way. We got a town gossip monger here.
Attack left.
From Max. That's right. Here's a fortified village from Andrew, which means we're going to see a 1-drop. It'll be Thraven Inspector. There's a clue as we head back Max's way.
Yeah, I mean, lean off here. Gossipmonger, one of the better 1-drops in the deck, I think, in this matchup. Just because it itself, without another pump effect, is able to start busting through all of the small creatures from Andrew Maine's side, like Hangerback Walker, Thraven Inspector, as well as Elvish Visionary.
A Kithian here from McVety, and now we're going to head back Maine's way.
Pop that clue.
Well, sort of.
Except play a 1/1 instead.
Yeah, it's kind of like getting a clue. There's an Elvish Visionary that draws a card immediately.
Basically the same thing.
Yep. Gossip Monger will transform Incited Rabble. Here we go. It's got to attack. We know that.
I mean, why would you not want to attack with it? It's great.
You have to.
Yeah.
It's a really mad group of people.
Dude, what was the 8-drop Eldrazi that had to attack every turn and made them Annihilator 2? It was like the common one that...
I know what you're talking about.
Oh man, I can't believe I can't remember this card. Anyway, so the joke is that they put has to attack every turn on it just so people couldn't mess up.
Ulamog's Crusher.
Ulamog's Crusher.
There you go.
Just so that you couldn't mess up, right? It's like you have to attack. Just do it. They'll die eventually. Just do it.
All their stuff's going to die. You're going to annihilate it, so just keep attacking. I know you want to hang back. No, there's the Crusher.
Yeah. So it looks like a double block here from Maine is going to take out the Kithian. The rabble rouser, if you will, is going to chump him for 3.
Yeah, the Insider Rabble's going to get in for 3. Both creatures are going to die from Maine, and we're going to head back Maine's way for his 3rd turn. So maybe a good trade, maybe not. I mean, getting Kithian off the battlefield when no mana's available, I kind of like.
No, me too. I think being able to potentially flip into a 4/4 virtual 5/5 attacker with the always watching, forcing Andrew maybe to attack into the flipped into Gideon is a powerful threat. And when you're trading away 2 creatures that are not very important to the overall game plan, they're really just there to buy some time, help you cycle through your deck. They go really well, honestly, with like the Oath of Nissa and stuff. That's just like kind of your game plan early on. Just dig, find your more important cards.
Here's a Silk Wrap. That'll take care of Incited Rabble, so that creature's gone, at least for now, as we head over and back to Max McVety, so he will draw a card. There's a Thraben Inspector. Here's a Knight of the White Orchid. I like how Max is just tossing his stuff out there. Here, more creatures, just go.
Things and stuff. The Rick Grimes story.
A Plains the draw here for Andrew. I want to make sure. Now I'm just going to make sure I get all your references. So that's a Walking Dead reference.
Yeah, TWD.
Gotcha. I'm on pause for that show right now. I haven't watched.
Well, so is everybody else.
Well, that's true.
Done.
It's done. Yeah, I'm waiting for the previous season to go on Netflix. That's when I watch it.
Sure. Make an Emblem has been done on turn 4. I guess if McVety had something to kill the token, he was just going to be able to hump the Gideon anyway. So that's not a terrible play. So now his Secure the Waste are going to be 2/2s if he has a Secure the Waste.
Well, he just picked up a copy of Archangel Avacyn, and he actually has a Secure the Waste in hand as well. So, hey, this is where Andrew Maine's deck is really good. It's got 5 mana available, and what are you going to do, Max? You're going to attack or not attack? Are you going to guess at what I have? And if you guess wrong, it's bad news for you. As here's, I believe, another copy of Always Watching. That 3 Always Watchings?
Looks like.
Yeah?
Looks like.
A Plains? A Griff's Boon?
And a Pass the Turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, just a hump.
Yep. Everybody's going to come in.
Oh, no, 3 Always Watching. Oh, but the emblem from the Gideon now makes the Archangel Avacyn a 5/5, and both creatures only have 5 toughness, so he actually can just eat one of the creatures. But he does take a sizable chunk of damage, about half his life total or more.
Now remember, Archangel Avacyn is indestructible right now because of the trigger, so Archangel Avacyn's going to block. Now, Thraben Inspector is a 2, 3, 4, 5 toughness creature. Yeah, and you see, Andrew says, I have an emblem. So I believe Max should lose that Thraben Inspector.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is 5 toughness.
Yeah.
So, actually, I think that might have been a minor misplay from Andrew, unless he has something to take care of the Knight right now. Because next turn, if he goes attack with the Knight, he can't trade the Avacyn off if he wants to. Like, he could go Grispoon, the Knight, attack, and it would be a first striker and not be, and then the Avacyn would not be able to trade with it.
It'll be a 6-power creature, too. Yeah, gotcha.
Right. Yeah, the first strike being the more important part, but yeah, the 6-power, even through Secure the Waste, it flies over it. So he would basically have to block with the Archangel Avacyn.
Well, Archangel's hanging out. It's ready to block. McVety will draw.
I think we might be seeing Secure the Waste into Ormondal.
We could be moving that way in just a bit. Now, Secure the Waste would be for 5, so that would be 5 2/2s. That's 10 power.
Yeah, I traded it in for 9 lifelink. I think that's fine. Declaration of Stone take care of both. Yeah.
He's going to the Boon, I think. At least he's moving the Boon around in his graveyard as McVety.
That's an illegal action in Legacy.
Yeah, you can't do that. That graveyard's got to stay the same for some really bad Magic cards.
Yeah, well, one of them's okay.
Corpse Dance?
Nether Shadow?
It's fine.
Yeah.
Here's the Boon.
Corpse Dance is my favorite. See, and here, if he had blocked the other way last turn, he would have taken the same amount of damage and actually been able to trade here.
Yeah.
Now he's in a spot where he actually has a chump block here.
It's a lethal attacker, and it's flying. So, yeah, you're right. He does have to block.
Yeah,
this will be an issue.
A little unfortunate. I don't think it was like something that you could like see off the top of your head. And plus, it forced McVety to use his whole turn playing the Grispoon. So it's not like it was the wrong play. It was just ended up being worse overall. If McVety had drawn a spell that he wanted to cast that turn instead of a land, then that play would have been a little bit better because then McVety wouldn't have been able to progress his board at all.
Secure the Waste here. Bunch of tokens. 5 of them. And there's an Anthem out there, so 5 2/2s. Now, Maine does have a copy of Nissa in hand, so he can make 5 3/3s, but one would get blocked, and it's not a lethal attack.
Yep. And we did not draw a Declaration of Stone. And by we, I mean Andrew Maine.
Yes.
Again, I'm on the right side of the table.
Yes.
I'm looking at the right side of the screen.
Rooting for Andrew Maine
Rooting for Andrew
shamelessly.
Maine. It's not so much a rooting thing. Plus, I'm not a regular commentator. I don't have to be unbiased.
Yeah.
I'm only going to be here for a little while.
I just do whatever I want here in the booth. I think it might be Ormondal time.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just dead if he doesn't Ormondal because the flying on Grispoon just like takes care of everything, right? Like he doesn't have another Archangel Avacyn, he doesn't have a removal spell. Ormondal's the only thing that flies. If he's going to Ormondal, he should be aggressive with it, and he should do it now instead of using it to block. The 9 life is pretty huge, puts him way out of range of dying to anything next turn because the Knight will only be attacking for 6. And something like Stasis Snare would even be able to take care of it like before blockers.
Yeah, so you just want to get your life now?
Right.
I mean, you're all in with Ormondal. I know it's probably an uncomfortable feeling, but I don't think you're left with much of a choice. And I think Andrew has come to that conclusion.
There we go. Oh, it's actually 10 because of the Anthem, too, so it actually goes to 15, which is pretty big, actually. Or maybe it's not that. Ormondal's pretty big.
Yes.
The 1 extra life, maybe not as much.
It's a 9-7. Let's make it a 10-8 because of that Gideon emblem.
This is why you don't double sleeve. it's impossible to use flip cards. It just took him 30 seconds to flip a Ormondal.
I think it was worth it because he's attacking,
yeah,
gaining a bunch of life. He's up to 15.
Yeah.
Does McVety have the answer? He's going to sacrifice a clue.
Needs it now. It's now or never. If he has an answer for Ormondal, then this game can go on for a little while longer, and he may even be able to take it down.
No, he is going to attack. It's a free attack.
Yeah, free attack for 6. It can still block the Ormondal for 1 turn, so he has 1 more turn, maybe, to find it. I believe Andrew Maine still has a clue down there.
He does.
Ooh, Gideon.
Another Westville Abbey. Beatdowns.
Can't have 2 Ormondals in play at once.
Lame.
Agree. Well, you also can't have 2 Gristlebrands in play either.
That's true.
That's who they gave their allegiance to after Liliana killed Gristlebrand.
I know Ormondal is just hanging out. He's proudly serving, assuming it's a he. A plant token.
I'm going to go with a demon is just an it,
Yeah.
I guess.
Furious.
Yeah, angry.
And now a knight ally. He's a prince. It's true.
Oh, true story. Just was informed that Ormondal is a prince.
Yep. Whatever he, she, it just destroyed Max McVety. Andrew Maine is going to win game number 2 here against Max McVety. Green-white tokens of 2 games to 0 over mono white humans. In one game, we see the power of Secure the Waste plus a bunch of Anthem effects. In the next game, we see the power of a bunch of tokens and Westville Abbey and the transformation in Ormondal. So this deck may be a little bit flexible, and as we saw in the early stages of that game, you know, the Knuckleheads, the Thraben Inspectors, the Elvish Visionaries, they're just there to chump block to be able to get to the powerful stuff.
Yeah, and in some scenarios, like, he's able to block with 2 of them and trade with even a buffed Kytheon.
Yep.
Or Kytheon. I don't know how you say it.
I need baby Gideon.
Yeah, baby Gideon. I need a dictionary for just magic cards for pronunciation purposes. Do they make that?
So if you
Should I make that?
If you go to Daily MTG, they do have the pronunciation because every time a new set comes out, I have to learn all the cards and the names. So I go over there quite a bit.
What's your most annoying one?
Ooh, now see, that's a good question. That's a good question. Okay, I have to think about that one a little bit. There's some that trip me up sometimes. I'm sure some people are going to comment at home on Twitter about the ones that I get wrong consistently. Goodness, Matthias. So for a little while,
Dramica?
no, Stramoka. No,
Dramica.
For a little while, I remember reading on Daily MTG that it was Pulachronos.
That's horrible.
And so I was doing that for a while because I was like, this is what it said on Daily MTG. And then Matthias and I did a show together, and he was like, it's Pulachronos. And I'm like, it's Pulachronos. And for a while, we were like disagreeing, and then we like went and looked it up again, and it was Pulachronos, which is actually just a lot easier to say than Pulachronos. So I'm pretty sure it's Pulachronos. And that one tripped me up for a while.
To be fair, Pulachronos sounds way cooler.
Right?
Because you're putting a huge emphasis on Chronos.
Yes.
Which makes him sound like a time traveler.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Pulachronos, but it ended up being Pulachronos. So that one was annoying for a little while. Then there was another annoying one. It was called Pack Rat. Because it was just horrible for coverage. So I didn't enjoy that very much.
I loved Pack Rat until they printed Bile Blight. And then all my plans were foiled.
Well, you just got to kill all the other Pack Rats.
Yeah, mirror matches became like way harder and or impossible to actually navigate properly.
Well, it wasn't just auto wins anymore. That's all, which is a good thing. Now we have been informed by Nick Miller and our coverage staff that if Max McVety does win this tournament, he locks up silver level pro status for the Pro Tour circuit. So he's got his back against the wall right now.
Yeah, that's great, actually.
Yeah, that would be really cool if he gets there, but he's in some real trouble right now, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, I've been in his spot quite a few times, needing to win 1 or 2 more matches to, like, hit a status on the pro circuit and just always falling short. That's
just a touch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm bad. So.
It can be concerning missing like that, I will say. I can say that. Now, we're going to take a look here. I'm going to see what people on Twitter have to say. While we do that, of course, we were going to very quickly talk about, let's go with, the StarCityGames.com shirts. How's that sound? As they are new, they are fresh, and look at Tom rocking it. You're wearing one right now.
Yeah, underneath this Players' Championship jacket.
Yeah, I hope
runner-up.
I hope you're comfy.
Runner-up.
Yeah, second
First
place.
loser.
Just can't be happy. Well, I guess technically first loser is correct. Just not happy with second place, huh?
I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. At the time, it was tough, but, you know, can't win them all.
As Ben Rubin famously said, win some, lose most.
Yeah,
which is just true.
Great. Yeah.
You know how you can be a winner? Get a Star City Games shirt.
Yeah.
Shameless.
You can be like Tom Ross.
That's right. Go to StarCityGames.com/apparel to get one of these bad boys. Game number 3 about to be underway here between Max McVety and Andrew Maine. Andrew Maine up 2 games very quickly. Now, I will say, Nick Miller and Ryan Overturf, they picked Andrew Maine to win this match. We picked Mono White Humans. We're looking pretty dumb right now.
Well, you know, sometimes you win some, you lose most.
Yeah, win some, lose most.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're on the lose most camp right now?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and they're on the win some camp.
Yeah.
I just want to say, you didn't bat an eye when I said time-traveling Pelucranos.
Yeah, I just went right through because I didn't know what it meant.
It's just a time-traveling Hydra, because Chronos, whatever.
What's that from?
Nothing.
Nothing? It's got to be from something.
Well, Chrono is just like, just kind of implies time, I guess.
Okay.
And like Chrono Trigger, doesn't he like go through time or something?
I think so. Like, I didn't play Chrono Trigger. I played Chrono Cross.
Was that the same
way
thing?
Worse, apparently.
Okay.
I heard it's
Sure.
way worse than Chrono Trigger. So my
Anyway,
nerd cred's gone.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm making bad jokes even worse by trying to explain them.
Chrono Cross was the first RPG I ever played that had too many characters. There was like 40 characters or something you could choose from. You could just find them in various places. There's just...
Personally, I was a very big fan of Super Mario RPG, Legend of the 7 Stars.
That's because it's like the best video game of all time.
Yeah.
Close.
There was a span of the first probably 26 years of my life where I played it at least once a year.
Smart.
Just go back and play it.
Smart.
It was always great. Nothing changed.
They
still have the Axum Rangers.
Who's your trio?
I think I have the power trio of Peach, Mario, Bowser. Peach, Mario, Bowser.
I see. Leaving Gino and Mallow on the bench. Okay.
Well,
okay.
Mallow is the worst.
Mallow is great. Take the headset off. Mallow is great.
Later.
Mallow is great. Just dropping hammers on people and everything else. Awesome to do his combos when you have to punch right. I'm just doing it right now. I also remember Mallow had to go to the Mallow Castle. They took his home.
No, all the story buff for Mallow was awesome.
Yeah.
But he was just a worse healer and a worse fighter than any of the others. And once you have Peach,
Peach was too good.
Well, yeah.
Peach was too good.
Dude, I like easy mode.
I like a challenge.
I like going to the secret boss and beating him in 5 minutes. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I know the secret boss. I can't remember the secret boss's name.
You got to go get the quartz, the crystal quartz key thing.
Apparently, our director knows a lot about Super Mario RPG. He's just chiming in.
Yeah.
Big Super Mario RPG fan.
Which was your favorite Axum Ranger?
I don't remember. I haven't played the game in like over a decade. I don't remember. They were tough though.
Yeah.
They were like kind of a tough boss during the game. If memory serves.
Okay, we should probably stop talking about Super Mario.
The best video game of all time. You're right. We could turn our attention back to Max McVety and Andrew Maine.
Okay, all right. Let's keep talking.
Okay, he's mulliganing. Let's keep talking.
Max McVety, I believe, is mulligan to 6. Andrew Maine is going down to 5. That's good news for Max McVety, who's down, 2 games to 0 at the moment. This may give him a chance to crawl back into the match. If he's able to take this game down, anything can happen.
I feel like clearly this is the game he has to win or he's out, but this is almost kind of the freebie now.
Freebie strong.
Yeah, freebie strong, but your opponent's mulligan at 5, you're on the play with your Mono White Human deck. This is a game you're supposed to pick up, in my opinion.
Yeah, but Thraben's Lieutenant, just brickwalling your whole squad?
That can be a problem.
Just has happened twice.
that can be a problem. Just going to put that out there. We'll see if Maine can find a better hand. Now, do remember, our next match, which Matthias Hunt and Ryan Overturf will be bringing you, is our other semifinal match between Craig Krempels, Ryan Fleischer. It's a Band Company mirror, so they'll be in the booth for a little while.
I just want to say thank you for not making me commentate on the Band Company mirror. That would have been miserable.
It's just luck of the draw. It's just luck of the draw.
So says the boss.
That's just luck of the draw.
Who chose the order.
All right. It's just luck of the draw. Didn't know things were going to break that way.
Yeah.
Hey, Jared could have won. There would have been no Band Company mirror. So, again, you never know what's going to happen.
True.
So it makes Magic great.
All right. Do we have a keepable 5? Looks like we do.
Keepable enough. Max, no 1-drop. Ugh. And it looks like Andrew's got plenty of lands to work with, at least.
Yeah, maybe a few too many.
What
I
do we got here?
saw a second copy of Force, so if he has a Nissa, he's able to cast it. And that was Visionary also.
Well, that's the Militia Campton. That's coming from the sideboard from McVety. This is an Elvish Visionary. Draw a card, will Maine. He'll pass the turn back over to McVety.
He basically already undid a mulligan.
It feels that way.
Now, if he could actually leverage that 1/1 body from Elvish Visionary into a trade, then that is effectively, an unmulligan, basically back down to 6. The Scry, I think, also very relevant now for any deck that has like a low curve, like this mono white humans deck, for example. The mulligans don't hurt nearly as much as they used to, just because the Scry is sometimes a virtual free card, especially on a mulligan to 6. You can smooth out your draw so well.
Archangel Avacyn, the draw for Maine. Now, you can see Maine's hand. He's got a couple of lands over here to work with. So
it does not feel like he mulliganed to 5. He has so many cards in hand.
There's a Declaration Stone.
All
Militia
right.
Captain down. Clue given.
There's a good chance McVety here actually has a third land and sandbagged it for a potential Knight of the White Orchid, or just has Knight of the White Orchid. And both scenarios, he actually can do a little ramping here. It looks like that is the card on the far right of his hand, so we'll probably see that here. Maybe followed by a Grisboon or a 1-drop or something.
Well, there's Knight of the White Orchid. 2 triggers, of course. 1 for a Plains, 1 for a human. So Thalia's Lieutenant turns into a 2/2. Time to search. There's the basic Plains.
I really want to build a Path to Exile Knight of the White Orchid deck in Modern. Just because I think Path is kind of underwhelming in Modern, just because your opponents can usually use that free resource very well.
Okay.
And you could also just use a free resource pretty well with the Knight of White Orchid. Blah.
Yeah, plus you can search up, dual lands in Modern. So
What's that?
it's a Grif Spoon, dog.
Tight?
An attack for 1, 2, 3 points of damage.
Seems unnecessary. I don't think Elvish Visionary was chump blocking. Nah, he is getting in that 1 extra damage and can potentially threaten to kill a Gideon or Nissa next turn. It is already sitting at, 3 power?
Yep.
So an Always Watching, or perhaps, another Thalia's Lieutenant, or just a human to put a counter on it, would be enough to take care of a Gideon. So maybe look for Andrew Maine to just go Gideon Emblem again.
Yeah, we saw it in the last game.
Just make another Glorious Anthem.
Yep.
He's going to be playing Archangel Avacyn over the next 2 turns. So, yeah, here it comes.
Yep. Pass the turn back. And I also think this turn we're not going to see Andrew block. I think he's just going to take the damage because Archangel can then make Elvish Visionary indestructible and have it stay around for a couple of turns. So he's going to use his life as a resource.
Yeah, he gets an extra block out of it, which is sweet.
Here come the beatdowns.
No play before attacks. It feels a little awkward unless Archangel of Ties.
All right, that's good.
That is the one card that would make him not play the other spells in his hand first, because it doesn't pump the Thalia's Lieutenant. So.
Yeah.
It is not quite big enough to get out of range of Avacyn. With an Always Watching, it will have 6 toughness, and the Archangel Avacyn will only be at 5/5. And he won't be able to block either, which is pretty gross.
Yeah, this is a real problem here for McVety, for Maine. McVety's doing fine.
He might just be dead.
Yeah. Right now, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 power on the board. So if McVety has any way to pump anything, which means if he has any spell.
I mean, he can just chump block the Knight of the White Orchid, right? So that's not. He can just pay 1. He's not going to get to cast the Archangel Avacyn though, because he has to pay 1 to block.
Yeah. Here's Always Watching.
Assembled the combo.
There's a Kithian. There's a trigger. Thalia's Lieutenant is bigger.
So flying in the air right now, I think that's 3, 4, 5, 9. Yeah. So it's 9 flying. So there's no way he can just chump block and survive. And he can't block if he plays Avacyn.
I had a feeling the Archangel will play a role in the matchup. Archangel of Ties, obviously very good in situations like this. So Maine is going to block here. As you mentioned, that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's 9 total damage.
Should be lethal.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't think I miscounted. I'm not great at math, as many of you know.
Yeah. Well, Andrew wasn't there for a second either, but it is exactly 9 in the air. So Max McVety, Andrew Maine going to get number 4. Is Max with his mono white humans deck able to get 1 here against string white tokens? However, this will be the first time in the matchup for Andrew Maine where he's actually on the play, and I think that's a pretty big deal.
I mean, it is kind of a big deal, but at the same time, if Max McVety is able to draw at least 1 Knight of the White Orchid, he can make up for that very quickly, especially if his deck is configured to be a little bit better in the long game with things like Archangel of Ties. You know, we saw Archangel of Ties there just kind of brickwall Andrew's entire plan. Being able to keep Archangel Avacyn from blocking for a turn was just all it took.
Some people are very upset
What'd I do?
about the hatred about Chrono Cross a moment ago.
Oh, good. They're not mad at me.
No, they approve of your love of Super Mario RPG.
Yeah.
That's an easy go-to, though, there.
Yeah, that's basically a freebie.
Yeah, it's like saying you like Final Fantasy VII. Ooh, big deal.
I'm not going to say anything about Final Fantasy VII.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Play it
Although
safe.
the remake does look like it's going to be pretty sweet.
It'd probably be pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a good video game. I don't know if a remake's necessary. It's like when they brought back Full House. Can we just make new stuff?
They didn't bring back Full House.
Well, they remade Full House.
Yeah.
Fuller
with all the same
house.
characters?
No, yeah, unnecessary.
In the same house?
Yeah, just unnecessary.
Just a little reunion tour?
Just why? Like, I like Final Fantasy VII as much as the next person, but can we just leave well enough alone? Just let it be.
All right.
Just let it be. It's fine. We like that game. It's like all the remakes, too many remakes nowadays. I'm going off on a tangent. I'm going to take a look at these players' sideboards really quickly. Don't want to express my anger at all these remakes that are taking place.
Anger.
Andrew Maine's on the play. You think anything changes here for him?
Not really. Like I already said, his sideboard doesn't have a ton of stuff that would really be all that detrimental in the matchup for Max McVety. So I think just the couple Silk Wraps to maybe take care of some of the early creatures. He might want Clip Wings just to maybe take care of a creature with Griff Spoon while also being able to deal with Archangel for only 2 mana. But you don't really need cards like that in your deck to just sit there and rot waiting for your opponent to play their kind of more expensive spell or like their 1-mana enchantment that you don't even know if they still have in their deck on the draw.
Yeah, that's
true. He may even just board it out.
Yeah.
If he expects Andrew to bring in Dromoka's Command, there's a good chance he just leaves it in his deck just because he wants to protect his Always Watchings, as well as potential Stasis Snares or whatever he may still have in his deck.
Well, I don't expect a lot to change outside of who's going first here. So Andrew Maine will be on the play here in just a moment. In the meantime, we got to talk about what these players are playing for here. They're in the semifinals of our Invitational here in Columbus. So they are walking out of here with at least $2,500, 35 SCG points, and invite to one of our next Invitationals, likely the one in New Jersey, is where we'll see these players yet again a couple months from now. However, whoever wins this thing, and we only got 4 players left, they're walking out with $10,000, 50 SCG points, an invite to one of our next Invitationals. And all this stuff. So an invite to the Players' Championship where they'll be joining Jeff Hoagland, Jerry Thompson, Jim Davis, and Andrew Tenjum. An invite to the next Pro Tour that will be taking place for Pro Tour Eldritch Moon. Buys and free entry into Opens for Season 2, free entry into select events and classics during Season 2 of the SCG Tour, and their likeness on, likely, a clue token.
Yeah, I mean, both of them seem to be in favor of inspecting.
Yes.
Looking around at stuff with maybe a magnifying glass, maybe a microscope.
They do like some clues, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, each game, they've both had clues in play, I think.
No, I was curious how clues were going to play out in Constructed. I figured it might be more of a limited thing, but they're actually pretty cool for Constructed.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to have a mechanic like clue tokens where you can play a spell and the drawback is that you give your opponent a clue. I think that is a really cool mechanic of game design because cards like Declaration Stone, if it just said your opponent draws a card, would just be unplayable. Or maybe not unplayable, but significantly worse.
Yes.
And would not see nearly as much play. But you have these aggressive white decks that can just leverage the tempo gained from the Declaration Stone to where, you're putting so much pressure on your opponent, they don't have time to pop the clues.
Yeah, if it did just say draw a card, and we've seen cards like that in the past,
yeah.
Like Vex, that counter spell. Counter target spell, your opponent draws a card. No thanks. Rarely playable. Only playable in very specific formats.
Only playable in Black Constructed as a 1 or 2 of in the sideboard of a green-blue aggressive deck.
That was bad. It was not a good
Yeah,
card.
and it was still horrible.
Yeah, not good. But if you gave him a clue instead...
that card would be busted.
Yeah.
If it said give your opponent a clue...
We're talking about a way different card. Here's a Kithian to start here for Max McVety.
Yeah. Sometimes they like to make particularly bad cards on purpose just to see how far people will go.
I played Vex.
People like me,
So-
people like you.
Yeah, I definitely played Vex.
You just got to do what you got to do.
It was so bad.
Now here we see Andrew Maine, yet another brick wall, unless here comes no Thales Lieutenant. So 1 drop, making a card, preventing 2 damage already.
Doing a good job.
Yeah.
Feels like a Wall of Omens almost.
Yeah, speaking of Wall of Omens, I really badly wanted Orator of Ojutai to be good.
It's not good yet.
Yet? It's almost gone.
It's not good yet. Give it time. Give it time.
How much
I don't know how much time.
We need
Just
more
give it
dragons.
time.
We need so many more dragons. We need like a bunch of 2 and 3 mana dragons. You know, like they did at first. They were like, okay, all these Eldrazi cards are real bad, and all these cards that interact with Eldrazi are real bad because all the Eldrazi cost like 30 mana. And then they're like, all right, here's a 2 mana and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 mana Eldrazi. It's like, okay, Avugan's nuts. Now we just need like 2, 3, 4 mana dragons, like a bunch of them.
And
then
Orator
Ojutai
is playable.
Busted.
Yeah, then it's
or they
playable.
just got to bring back tribal dragons would be sweet.
I think we might be in store for some tribal stuff soon.
A little nameless inversion reveal off of Orator of Ojutai.
Bang. You're speaking my language now. For Maine, he played a Morph, and now McVety is going to play a Knight of the White Orchid. So he'll search. There's the Plains.
Oh, no.
Don't worry.
That happens to me so much in feature matches. The playmat just gets caught on my jacket sleeve, and I just lose my mind for a second.
Just giving away info.
Yeah, it's not on purpose. I blame the playmat.
All right. I'll talk to the playmat about that. See how it feels.
You can talk to old Smug Mug Jeremy about it.
Oh, this again.
What? Smug Mug. Look at this. Both on turn 3, Max McVety is about to have 1 more land than Andrew Maine, and more creatures in play. Now, I'm pretty sure this morph is not a Hidden Dragon Slayer.
Oh, you don't think so?
But it could be.
I think it's possible.
Does he might have brought in Den Protector to help rebuy Declaration Stone,
You might just want a lifelink for a Hidden Dragon Slayer.
perhaps, or just the ability to kill something with like Griff's Boon plus Always Watching. You know?
Exactly.
It only has to be a 4-power creature, right?
Yep.
It's like anti-ferocious
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, so here it comes. Griff's Boon on Handwear Captain or another.
Yeah, the Militia Captain's coming into the red zone here for 3. Maine will draw a card. It's 17 right now. Copy of Silk Rack in hand, though.
Yeah, Silk Wrap does a good job at answering the creature with the Griff's Boon on it here. Problem is, do you gamble a little bit? Pop that clue maybe? Try to hit that land drop?
Tough to say. It's
Yeah,
a risk.
You still at 17. You're not under a ton of pressure.
Finding land here would be a pretty big game.
Agree. Although, you got to be careful because that Kithian could flip next turn if he so desires.
Well, he's going to take the risk. Draw a card.
Oh, brick.
The whiff.
The way this game is starting to look, feels like Max McVety might start to pull back into this match here.
You saw the playmat strike again.
Oh, yeah.
It just bites people.
Yeah. It's hungry, man. It wants the trophy more than we do.
Already has a trophy. Doesn't need another one.
No, it needs a real trophy to put on top of it, like Zelda, and then it unlocks the Triforce underneath the cup.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's already wearing a crown. What's up with that?
Here come the attacks. Got Knight of the White Orchid and the Flying Anywhere Militia Captain. More damage being dealt. A land. An Archangel of Tides. Pass the turn back. Let's go back over to Andrew Maine. He needs a 4th land real bad.
Yeah.
I don't think he found one.
Yeah, this is troublesome for Andrew. He may be able to draw to this. He's still at 12. He could Silk Wrap.
He's going to go Declaration of Stone.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't Silk Wrap. He can't Declaration of Stone. He's going to go Declaration of Stone, get the Archangel out of here.
Sure.
Give McVety a clue.
Now, this is a spot where McVety can actually leverage that clue to turn into an actual card. He has 6 mana already, or 5 mana, I'm sorry, and potential for 6 if he draws a land this turn. So the extra card, basically a free roll. His hand looks pretty great, actually. Looked like an Always Watching about to come down. Flip that Kithian.
He's got some options.
Yeah, 1 mana from Andrew, untapped, not scary at all. There's nothing that he could really do to interact with Max right now. So basically has free reign on this turn, can flip the Kithian as long as he can keep it from dying, either via Indestructible,
There's Stasis Snare.
Sure.
Got to take care of the morph. This is, oh boy, this is getting ugly.
Oh, that was actually fairly heads up, because if he just casts Always Watching, it's not lethal. Like, he can get a chump in with Inspector, and then he can actually flip the Dragon Slayer next turn, kill one of the creatures, and potentially block and gain 3 life.
Yeah, it's actually a good series of plays here from McVety. Thalia's Lieutenant is the follow-up. Creatures get a little bit larger. Kythian's able to safely attack here. Don't have to worry about the chump block or the trade in combat, which means we're going to see him transform into Gideon Battleforged here after combat. You got to like the position here for Max.
Yeah, I mean, the first couple games we saw Andrew just kind of claw his way into the later turns of the game, hit a couple land drops, start playing bigger threats than Max. But this is the power of the Mono White Humans deck. It's able to play a bunch of early creatures, do a lot of little things that make them a little bit better, things like Griff Spoon, Always Watching, Thalia's Lieutenant. All these cards just make even the smallest body good. Like, that's one of the reasons why I think Thalia's Lieutenant is so, or not Thalia's, Threadman Inspector is so good, is because while being an Elves Visionary, the body is going to be relevant in your deck no matter what.
We're going to see a transformation take place here in just a moment. It just doesn't get a +1/+1 counter.
Unfortunately, it does not. The Planeswalkers from Origins actually exile and then come back flipped, which is different from most of the cards from Innistrad, Shadows over Innistrad. And Gideon Battleforge, you don't actually see it flipped a lot. People try to kill it as quickly as possible against all these aggressive decks. And, there are instances where you might not even want to flip the Gideon, because your opponent could just, take some damage, and then since you had to attack with 3 creatures, you just don't have anything on defense anymore. However, all that changed when Always Watching was printed, because now you get to have all your creatures have vigilance and things like that. So it's just a lot better than it was before Shadows over Innistrad came out.
A Stasis Snare will take care of the Militia Captain, and you saw Threadman Inspector have to attack Gideon Battleforge, but I think this is going to be a pretty straightforward turn for Max. We might see him play and Always Watching, maybe not, but he can fire these creatures with Andrew at 2. This one's basically over. There is Always Watching.
Yeah, 3 lethal attackers, 2 mana, tap creature. I don't think there's a card in Standard.
There is not.
Is there a fog? I don't think there's a fog. There's definitely not one in his deck.
I promise you that. We got his deck list right in front of us. No fog here from Andrew Maine. That's why it's all tied up 2-2.
Yes, sir. Game 5. So many Game 5s. This is great.
That's your favorite part. Game 5.
Yeah.
All on the line.
Yep.
Between Mono White Humans and Green White Tokens. We're going to have some sort of aggressive deck in the finals no matter what. Going to be playing against Bat Company no matter what, as Max McVety is going to take a moment to get ready.
We got to tell these guys to stop drinking so much water.
Gotta stay hydrated during these very important matches of Magic.
He's going to.
See you later, Andrew. Later. Adios. That means that we are going to come back here very quickly. You get to look at Todd and I as we are here in the booth. Cedric Phillips, Todd Anderson. Yeah, it's tough here. We do apologize as we're getting ready here for game number 5 of the Columbus Invitational. We will take a look very quickly at the overall bracket here of the tournament so you can get an idea of what the top 4 does look like, as we've got 4 players left here in Columbus. We're watching McVety against Maine right now, and eventually we're going to watch Craig Krempels with that Bant Company deck. That darn Bant Company deck, with Ryan Fleischer playing Bant Company as well. Look, man, is there any stop in this deck?
Hopefully. Right? I don't know. I mean, why are you looking at me? I'm not in the tournament anymore.
Does your blue-red deck beat this thing?
It's close. Jim Davis did beat me on camera last week in one of our matches, and it did not feel like it was an overwhelmingly great matchup, but I did play against it 2 times this weekend. I know Ross Marion played against it around 3, maybe 4 times this weekend, and I did not lose to it once, and Ross only lost to it once. And I think that's a fairly good record. I think we're both pretty decent players, and so, I would expect us to have a winning record against most things, even matchups that aren't necessarily good. But if you just get your engine going, I think that you'll be fine. Okay. And Goggles in general, it can falter if it has a weak, slow draw, or you just have a bunch of cards that don't really interact well with other cards that you draw. You can draw a bunch of lightning axes and nothing to do with them, and you just have to start pitching relevant cards. And then no matter what you're playing against, you're just going to fall apart.
Sure.
And that's kind of the problem with decks that rely a little bit too much on synergy. And so it's been my goal over the last couple of weeks to try to make it a little more streamlined, maybe play a few cards that are a little bit more raw power as opposed to synergy based.
Yeah, because right now your deck is pretty synergy based. I feel like it almost has to be in some regards. And
oh, yeah.
this Collected Company deck is also pretty synergy-based, but it's also got a lot of good cards. So
For sure.
we're going to see it square off in the other semifinal match soon enough, but we got to finish this one as our players have returned because they've decided they want to play game number 5. So back down to the feature match, we're going to go. Max McVety on your left with mono white humans, Andrew Maine on your right with green white tokens. Maine will be on the play again. Wasn't successful that game, that's for sure, but those mana issues did come back to bite him. And now we'll see if he can actually get the job done. Game 5 on the play as McVety has found a way to tie things up here.
Yeah, I mean, we had Andrew winning the first 2 games, and I was actually kind of shocked because I thought Max McVety could very easily 3-0 him.
Same.
Just having a couple aggressive starts, play maybe 3. He hasn't had the triple 1-drop into an Anthem draw yet. And on the play, I think that draw is almost unbeatable in the format. But Andrew Maine was able to take the first 2 games. His deck looked pretty solid. He even stumbled a little bit in game 1, but McVety's draw was not great. And so he was finally able to eventually draw out of his stifled mana, started playing Gideon. Nissa kept ticking up, and eventually just made a million power and killed him. So I was a little bit surprised when Green-White took the first 2 games. Max McVety's deck kind of showed up in the last 2 games to tie it up at 2-2. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm excited.
Perhaps he's saving the best for last in game 3 or game 5. Excuse me.
I feel like you should just always bring your best.
Just bring the goods always.
That's your mantra.
Yeah. What are you saving it for? That's not my mantra. It's a mantra.
I just want to point out small thing.
Yeah.
The little play button next to the SCG Live logo.
Okay.
I want to press it.
But you can't.
But I can't.
But I guess if you go up to that backdrop, you can.
Oh, I'm going to do that after the match.
Yep.
I'm just going to run over there.
Knock it over.
Bang. Ray's going to be mad at me.
Yeah.
Everybody will be mad at me. It's fine.
I am joined here in the booth by Todd Anderson. Unfortunately, Patrick Sullivan a little under the weather today, so we hope that he does feel better, especially for his flight home tomorrow. Flying sick, never good.
Oh, no. I've done that a few times. Sometimes you just get the con plague, the generic, I don't know, tournament gunk.
Yeah, just a bunch of people in a room.
Wake up on, Sunday or Monday and just feel like you don't want to move.
So we're hoping he feels a little bit better tomorrow, so we wish him well, of course. But Todd joining me here for this semifinal match between mono-white humans and green-white tokens. This will be interesting. The green-white token stack, I always look at it. I'm always underwhelmed when I look at it. Just these creatures are just kind of meh to me, especially with how good of the creatures there are out there. Hangerback Walker is still a good card. I just always think of it, and I'm just like, meh. It's just kind of whatever.
Last week, I think it was particularly bad just because there were so many Eldrazi displacers running around.
Yeah.
After, the top 8 and everything had kind of developed, there was only one black-white Eldrazi in the top 8. There were no other Eldrazi decks in the top 8, no other Eldrazi displacers even. And, maybe that means that Hangerback Walker can come back a little bit. It's always been susceptible to removal spells that exiled, right? Like, there's been Silk Wrap and Stasis Snare for a while, but neither of those cards saw a lot of play. And for a while, Silk Wrap saw a lot of play, but it kind of, tapered off closer to the end of the Abzan aggro era, mostly because Dromoka's command was so good.
Sure.
And now, though, all these white decks just kind of have to play Declaration Stone and, Silk Wrap or Stasis Snare, and they don't really have the option. So Hangerback Walker, very hit or miss. I think it's pretty bad against white decks in general just because all the removal exiles, but at the same time, things like Declaration and Stone are also very good against, Secure the Waste, for example. So you could maybe take the target off of that, give them something to use their mana on while also giving you a clue, right? And if they don't deal with it, it's kind of a giant brick wall.
Well, here is a clue from the 3-Minute Inspector as we're underway here in game number 5 of our first semifinal match. The 3-Minute Inspector here for Andrew as well. So clues for everybody as there's a fortified village. And now we'll head back Max's way. He'll draw.
Yeah, it looks like Andrew Maine has a little bit of a weird start here with his mana. Only has one more land in hand, and it is a Westfell Abbey.
Yep.
So if he doesn't draw a few more lands, he could be in a little trouble. But he does have that clue token. He's got a Hangerback Walker chilling.
He's got to draw basics. He doesn't want any more Canopy Vistas or Fortified Villages, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. Worst lands in the deck. Plains is the best.
Yeah.
Force is second best.
Ooh, no second play there from McVety. It's going to be cracking a clue for him.
Yeah, I think this is the classic Night of the White Orchid slow roll. So when, you have the potential to Night of the White Orchid, if you don't have another 2-drop, you just kind of have to wait, he gets to crack the clue, so he actually gets to use the mana, and you see just how good Thraben Inspector is this game.
Here's Knight of the White Orchid. I think we're going to be seeing this thing a lot in Standard.
Yeah.
Card's really good.
Agree. It's actually kind of interesting how it warps Knight of the White Orchid mirrors. You know, a lot of times you want to board out Knight of the White Orchid when you're on the play.
Okay.
But in a Knight of the White Orchid mirror, you don't board them out on the play. You just don't play them until your opponent knights you first.
Okay, sure.
And then when you're on the draw, you sometimes don't play the land after you knight them so that they can't knight you back. It's a little dance.
A little game inside the game. Okay.
Yeah. That's magic, baby.
I kind of like that.
How many Avacons in hand? Seems like a lot.
Yeah, there are quite a few of the Powerful Archangel. It does look like there are 3.
He's drawn about as good as Eric emailed did last week in his last match.
Eric had 4 Archangel Avacons to end the game.
Blast.
And Declaration in Stone taking care of Hangerback Walker. Not the first time we've seen that. Clue given. 2 of them now here for Maine.
Clue flooded.
Yep.
Now, if he goes land, pop, clue, find land, then he's perfectly in this game. If he, okay, that's
How about
one.
just draw land?
I think he should actually start here by cracking the clue.
Okay.
Because if he drew a land that required the force, like if he drew another fortified village or a Canopy Vista, he would much rather play that so that he's guaranteed to be able to play Archangel Avacyn next turn.
Sure.
But he does have 2 clues to pop, but that doesn't actually change anything because he drew the forest. So he goes pop the clue, or still has the forest in hand. If he doesn't draw the land off of it, then he plays the forest, then he pops the other clue. Or maybe draws Elf Visionary, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a problem next turn. You know, if the next land does enter the battlefield tapped, if it is Canopy Vista or if it is Fortified Village, this is bad news.
Right.
In the meantime, it's going to be a Griff Spoon here on the Knight of the White Orchid, so Max is going to get into the sky and attack for quite a bit of damage here. Andrew's going to start by sacrificing a clue. Didn't get a great look at it.
I hope it's Canopy Vista.
Oh,
I'm all about max
You're
punishment.
looking for max punishment as usual.
Always.
The follow-up is a Archangel of Tithes, so another clue will be sacrificed.
And this is another thing where now next turn, if even if he draws the land, Dromoka's Command. All right.
It was a Canopy Vista. And a Plains.
Oh, so lucky.
Not the maximum amount of punishment here for Andrew.
I feel like that's the minimum amount of punishment.
It is.
So he actually has a couple options here. Archangel Avacyn, I think, is close to the top of the list just because he has too many in hand, right? And he wants to get one into play so that he can potentially go Dromoka's Command, fight kill the Archangel of Tides. Right now, though, if McVety attacks with everybody, including the Archangel, an Avacyn cannot come down and block due to the payment requirement on the Tide. You have to pay the toll.
Yep. On the Tides, you got to pay the toll.
Yeah. So here also he's protected from Dromoka's Command. The Griff Spoon keeps the Always Watching alive, which is nice. And yeah, I mean, I think here his best play is probably just going to be take it, secure for 4, and then actually no, that's not even that good because then his Ormidal also can't block.
There's some problems here. I think you just got to play this. I think you got to get one of these out of your hand.
Sure. Maybe he waits one more turn. Next turn he can maybe block, pay 1, block with Archangel Avacyn, or just I don't know. This does not seem great.
Yeah, this is just a tough spot all the way around here for Andrew.
All right, for the pause here, I'm assuming McVety actually has a Stasis Snare in hand, which would be huge. But he may want to save that for Ormidal, which could get out of hand.
I feel like he's doing pretty well against Archangel Avacyn right now.
Yeah, I mean, this Indestructible is not going to matter too much. The trick, though, is that you can actually play a second Avacyn, keep one in play, sacrifice the other, and then that'll actually trigger the Avacyn to flip. And
False. Non-Angel.
Oh, you're right.
Bang.
Man, Brad just lied to me for like the last 3 weeks. Although he did draw a Hangerback Walker, which he can do for 0. True.
Nah, I lied now.
True.
Now we're back onto it.
All right.
I can actually get behind I can get behind Hangerback for 0 here. It would take care of Knight of the White Orchid and the Thraben Inspector. Would not take care of the Archangel, but he can block the Archangel,
He can
sort
also
of.
Dromoka's Command it.
Yeah?
Which would be dope. No, just 0.
Nope.
0. Untap your land, 0. I want to see Avacyn flip. I have yet to see her flip.
Really?
Yeah, because I always just kill it.
Oh.
And I don't watch other people's matches. I got stuff to do.
Well, Andrew might play it for 0. He might play it for 1. Again, he's got Dromoka's Command. He's also got to leave this mana up to be able to pay the toll. And the Archangel of Ties to block. But more than anything, I think right now he's trying to figure out the best way to catch back up in this game and maybe surprise Max at instant speed.
Yeah, it's possible that we need to play the Hangerback Walker here to chump block one of the ground creatures. Or I guess it's just the Thraben Inspector at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he might get the chance to double block, but again, you have to pay mana to block, so his mana is just kind of choked up.
I guess also if his plan is to use Dromoka's Command, he can maybe force him to sacrifice the Griff's Boon, and then he actually can chump block the Netherwood Orchid, which saves a little bit of damage.
Okay.
Not positive.
A lot of different routes Andrew can go.
Yeah.
He could always just sacrifice the Always Watching. I find that to be unlikely, but it is an option.
Yeah. I think what he might end up doing, actually, is if he is able to chump with the Hangerback Walker, like let's say that McVety actually does attack with the Thraben Inspector, which seems a little foolish at the moment.
Yeah.
But if he does, what he can do is try to flip Avacyn, sweep the board, and then use Dromoka's Command to finish off the Archangel of Ties.
Another Griff's Boon.
It's a lot of boons.
Yes, it is. Remember, Max has a Stasis Snare in hand, too.
Well, that's a beating.
Yep, this is going to be hard. Now, Andrew, right, he's going to figure out exactly what's going to happen here. Yeah, remember, these creatures get +1/+0, too, because of Griff's Boon. Griff's Boon's a heck of a card.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly innocuous on paper. You know, it looks like kind of just one of those limited cards that, you know, sometimes does some cool things in a deck. Like if you have a guy who's like, oh, when he's enchanted, he gets like +2/+2 and gains lifelink. You know, then cards like Griff's Boon become sweet. But in Constructed, you know, it's rare that an actual enchant creature is good. And I think Heroic was actually an exception to the rule.
Okay.
Just all the Ordeals of Thassa, you know, all the things like that. Just because that entire mechanic revolved around just trying to do very powerful things that targeted your creatures, and I think usually auras are just that, the most powerful thing you can do to try to enchant your creature. Griff's Boon, I think here, in this current standard, is a little bit of an exception for most auras just because of the flying ability versus all these decks with so many powerful ground creatures. The fact that you can also rebuy it, I think, is huge. The fact that Dromoka's Command sees so much play, also very big.
Gotcha. Here is Dromoka's Command. Looks like we're going to have Hangerback Walker fight Archangel Avacyn, most likely just to die. Archangel of Ties, most likely just to die. But we'll get confirmation on the modes and what's happening here with this very complicated card.
Yeah, so what happens here is if this resolves and Max McVety does not have Stasis Snare, he gets a token from the Hangerback Walker. If the Archangel of Ties attacks, he can actually gang block with the Avacyn, which is a 4/4. The token, which is a 1/1. And then double block, and then with one of the damage on it, it'll ultimately kill it.
Okay.
So a pretty, I guess, ambitious Dromoka's Command.
I mean, he's got a hope, right?
Yeah, one of the Griff's Boon are going to go away, though, so you are going to get a chump block with the Thraben Inspector. So that's nice.
Yeah, we're in combat, just so that you're aware. And it is sacrifice and enchantment. Hangerback Walker is going to fight Archangel of Ties. No blocks have been declared, obviously. Pretty complicated combat. I think more than anything, Andrew's hoping that Max misses something here.
Yeah, I mean, as long as Max just casts Stasis Snare, I don't think he can possibly lose. You know, I think he's just in a very good spot. It's going to take, you know, one heck of a top deck from Andrew to get out of it. And from what he's got in his hand, it might not just be one card that does it.
Yeah. Now, if he doesn't have Stasis Snare, it changes things. But we're fairly certain here in the booth that he does have a Stasis Snare, as he thought about it a little bit earlier, and Andrew Maine is hoping that he doesn't have it and that he was bluffing that. And he's hoping that if he does have it, he doesn't realize what's going to happen here. Now, it is Game 5 with a finals appearance on the line, so if I'm Max, I'm thinking about this a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on this one spell right now. If he does have Stasis Snare, that's huge for him. Andrew, way on the back foot. If he does not have Stasis Snare, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Max to navigate, you know, his next few turns, trying to beat the Avacyn transform, as well as the 3 damage from it. So I guess, yeah, he's going to let this resolve first, and then he's going to probably... It looked like he was about to tap 3 mana. The only thing really could be his Stasis Snare. So.
Yeah, he's reaching.
All right, so here comes the token.
Here comes the snare. Yep.
Yep, there it is. Now, I think we can just safely attack with all of our creatures. There's only 1 damage on the Archangel, and I believe it has to just be a double chump block.
Yeah, I think the flyer, the Thopter token, will get in front of the Archangel.
I guess it could be a single chump block on the Archangel, and we would just take 6 down to 1.
Ugh.
But that's still a dangerous spot to be in. Now, Andrew does have a Secure the Waste in hand, if I'm not mistaken, and if he can find a way to get rid of the other Griffspoon and the Archangel, then maybe the Secure the Waste could gum up the board. You know, there aren't that many flyers in Max's deck. The problem with that, Griffspoon coming out the graveyard,
Yep.
bringing it back.
Yeah, Griffspoon ain't no joke.
Yeah, it's kind of like a it's
so
like a
good.
good joke.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's like a Mitch Hedberg joke.
You mean the best joke? Andrew's going to figure out the best ways to block here, but again, we know his hand as well. Archangel Avacyn ×2, Secure the Waste #1. So this is a very difficult spot here for the Green-White Tokens player, whose tournament might be coming to a close here in just a moment, as he is forced to do some blocking here that he does not like. He'll have to pay, of course, 2 block because of the Archangel.
Gotta pay the toll. Yeah, so we're going to take 3 down to 4 life. And the cards in his hand not currently able to get him out of this spot. We have a follow-up, too? Jeez.
Yeah, we do.
Just a 4/4 virtually. Unless you can get rid of one of those creatures. Yep.
And that is going to do it. Andrew Maine going to win this. Excuse me. Max McVety going to win this match over Andrew Maine. Did not
All
mean
right,
to do
Steve
that.
Harvey.
Stop. Oh, wow. Mono White Humans takes care of Green White Tokens. You just called me Steve Harvey?
What? Because you announced the...
I know. Max McVety is moving on
You have similar hair.
to the finals. Oh, my goodness. Now I feel
You're
horrible.
both really old.
Yep, that we are. Both grays in our beard. Congratulations.